so it's Friday, and we know viewers, you can't wait to hit the weekend. And what can be a better way to relax than watching some exciting upcoming movies and web series? So let's take a break from financial planning and let's sort out your weekend. Let's welcome on board RJ Divya Solgama, film critic and radio jockey. Thank you so much, Divya, for being on the show. And today is going to be a very important discussion with you because you are going to help our viewers unwind. It's been a very unsettling week for our traders and investors and everyone who puts money in the market. But here you are. And let's begin with what's going to happen this weekend. What is the highlight and what exactly is new? Because it's Friday. Let's talk about films first. Do we have any new releases?
Firstly, good evening, Kavita. And yes, it's a crowded week out here also. We had 3 to 4 Hindi movies, a couple of English movies, plus the regional ones. So it's a crowded week, starting with Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, because that's the biggest film because it stars Rani Mukherjee. And let me tell you, she is simply outstanding in this movie. You know, she makes you believe in the character. The madness, what has been added in her role, is of top level. The theme is also unique, interesting, and also engaging as it's based on true events. So if you, and you know, being a mother, if there are like people going from family side, the mothers, they are going to connect it in a big way. It's a story of this lady, whose children were taken away by Norway government and how did she fight back and got it back. So it's an entire journey. I had bit issues with the direction as this movie could have been, out and out tearjerker or a emotional enriching film. The emotions do strike in couple of scenes, but it had potential of being, having much more.
All right, but then let's take these movies one by one, okay?
Yeah,
Talking about Mrs. Chatterjee and Norway, I think it's a movie by it's this movie in which Rani Mukherjee is then after a very long time she's come up with something so exciting, and we can see the praises for the movie all over our social media.
of course.
You guys have seen it. A lot of celebrities and co-stars, co-actors also have seen it. But then looking at the time where Hindi films are trying to hold a very strong ground. Do you think this is the film that will be successful? Because Pathan, we saw, for example, longest running and obviously the box office collection, extraordinary response, okay, not expected at all. But do you think the benchmark now for Hindi films has gone so high, or that was just one of the case because it was an SRK film and long awaited,
Of course.
and which is why this kind of a response? How do you analyze it?
Well, you said it. It was a SRK film. Shah Rukh Khan coming after 4 years. The negative publicity helped the film. The action was of top scale. You know, if you watch the film, the action was in comparison to Mission Impossible or Fast and Furious type of films. So yes, the benchmark has been raised. People want to see event films. There have been some very good films recently, but sadly they didn't work on in the big screen. But when it came to OTT, people are like, praising, "Arey, bahut achhi film hai. What a superb film. We missed it out." I think Mrs. Chatterjee might also be one of those films. But this would have, if this film would have released pre-pandemic, this would have been a big hit. It would have easily crossed 40, 50 or 60 crores with the family going there and watching it. Let's see what happens out here.
We move on. So you recommend our viewers to go for this film, right? And after out of
100%.
5, how many stars do you give?
I'll give something around 3.5
Oh,
plus for
that's
sure.
not bad at all. That's not bad
Yeah,
at all. Okay, and the film is catchy all throughout. It's not like the first half is
it's a
good, second
catch.
half is good. All right,
No, but
interesting.
it's fully engaging. As I said, she's fantastic. So for Rani Mukherjee, it's a 4-star film.
Lovely. All right, we move on. Which is the next film? Because you mentioned there are a couple of Hindi releases.
Yeah. So the next one is Zwigato. The
Okay.
name sounds mixture of Swiggy and Zomato. So Zwigato is there, and the comedy man Kapil Sharma tries to do what Mahmood Saab did in Kumara Baap or Charlie Chaplin did in Limelight, and that's being part of a non-comical film, and being a part of an emotional film. So when you go to watch this film, of course, for 10-15 minutes, it's going to be a bit difficult for you because you expect Kapil Sharma hai, to chalo, he'll crack some joke, he'll make you laugh because he's a comedian. But after 15 minutes, you forget that he's a comedian and you just get engaged into his role, his character. So yes, he has done a good job and that's surprising. But I guess all thanks to director Nandita Das, This movie also has Shana Goswami, who is always great. Uh, Film wise, I'll say it has this entire touch of Iranian cinema, world cinema written all over it. The pace of this movie is just exactly like how it has to be in film festival type of movies. It just keeps going on slowly, aram se, on and on and on, and ends up without any high point. And that was the issue with the film. Because if you've seen Firak from the same director, that film also had the same thing, but in the end, there was a high point, and then you come out with something in the film. Out here in Zwigato, yes, you are going to think about these delivery boys, ke yaar, 20 rupees mein how do they survive? But then after that, within 10-15 minutes, you're going to forget it because there's no high point in the film. It's a out and out arty film, but I guess on Netflix, people are going to enjoy it.
So it's a release on OTT.
It's not a OTT release. That's the
Okay.
problem. It's released in cinema hall.
Okay, but then you think people might just enjoy it watching it on OTT. All right. Next, we move on to Kabza. Is that what you're recommending?
Well, Kabza is a Kannada film, with
Acha,
one of their
okay.
yesteryear's superstar, Upendra, in it. And it's been presented in that entire KGF manner with dark visuals, loud music, larger than lifestyle action. The story also has shades from Agnipath and few more gangster type of movies, but it's not for the elite crowd. The elite crowd will pull their hair because there's everything is over the top. People are flying in the air, the helicopter landing in police station and all those things. But yes, masses will love it. They'll enjoy it. So I'm expecting to see some decent number in single screens and the original language.
All right. Next, I think there is a release, Rocket Boy Season 2. Now, that's an OTT thing?
Yes. So Rocket
Okay.
Boys, before that, there's one more English movie I would just like to share.
Sure.
And that's Shazam, the sequel to this
Oh,
film.
yeah.
And just one word for it, and that's DC fans will love it. It's totally entertaining and not like Ant-Man or few other boring superhero films we saw in recent times. So I'm going to recommend youngsters to go and watch Shazam if you are a big-time DC fan.
So out of the theatre releases, Divya, I think only Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway looks very exciting, which
Shazam?
might Shazam as well. Yeah, right,
Yes.
right. But then, do you think Pathan still has a lot of chance where it can dominate these films?
Well, Pathan has now gone into that autopilot mode. Some theaters, it's there. People are just going for the experience. Shah Rukh fans are just going for songs. Some Salman fans are just going.
Yeah.
The ticket rates are below 100 rupees. So they are just going and enjoying that film. So that's not going to hamper or get some big numbers on box office. Tu Jhuthi Mein Makkar is also going on. So I think the family crowd might get divided into, Tu Jhuthi Mein Makkar and Mrs. Chatterjee. But again, the numbers will not be big. It will be a very, very small number.
Do you think Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway can be like a commercial hit, or you think it could be a critically acclaimed film because of
Critically
the subject?
acclaimed for sure, but commercially it's a tough call.
It's a
In
tough-
today's time, it's a tough call.
Exactly, exactly. All right, we move on to your OTT recommendation. What's exciting?
Yes.
Because I think that is something that people really look forward to. I don't know if these films can actually drag our viewers to the theatre, but OTT definitely.
So Rocket Boys, as you said, season 2 has come, and people who have watched Rocket Boys season 1, my God, that was a surprise show. When people saw that show, nobody expected anything from that show. And the way that show was made, the way people performed, the theme, everything was loud. And this time, in season 2, it's Pokhran. So, season 1 was surprise. So, as I said, with some stellar performances, and entire team was highly engaging. This one also carry forwards. But, there's a curse of first half and a curse of high expectations due to the season 1. That happens out here too. So, it's not as impactful or engaging like season 1, but still has its flavor. It might not be like 4.5 or 4-star like season 1 was there. This will be little down, little. But you have to watch it.
But don't you think on OTT, we've not been really able to do well with season 2s. The sequels have not been very impressive. What's exactly the reason behind it? Be it any genre.
So as I said, it's always that curse of high expectations. When you watch a season 1, there's nothing. You don't know much about those seasons. And, this interesting fact about Sony LIV shows, if you take Scam or you even take anything, other shows also of Sony LIV, they do it in a very surprise manner. They're like people don't know much about their shows. They promote it also just a couple of weeks before. And when you watch those shows, you are like, wow, yeah, what a theme, what performance, very good quality. The production houses, everything is very high. So that time you're watching with zero expectation and you like the show that goes to 90 to 100 level. And when second season is coming, your expectations already, you're expecting it to be more than 100, which is not going to happen.
Yeah. Which is your next recommendation now on OTT?
Oh, that's a tough call because there's Popcorn on Disney Hotstar made by the commercial writer Farhad Samji.
Okay.
It's got so many comedians out there. Johnny Lever is there. There's late Satish Kaushik sir is there. Chunky Pandey, Saurabh Shukla. Many actors are there. But I'll say it's loud, over the top, bad direction, terrible background score. The only plus points are the few comic actors like Johnny Lever, Saurabh Shukla, Chunky Pandey, and late Satish Kaushik. So they are there in their part and mannerisms and comic tag, but the overall the show is oof.
Surprised. So we are seeing a lot of hoardings of this show on Z5. It's called Taj. Don't you think it's worth watching?
Of course, Taj was there 2 weeks back, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reason I'll recommend that show
Uh-huh.
because if we have all watched Mughal Azam, and what
Exactly,
we
yeah.
knew about Mughal Azam was
Hmm.
that Salim, that's Dilip Kumar character, was in love with Madhubala, that's Anarkali, and Akbar objected over it. But if you know a little bit of history, there were stories of Akbar also falling in love or having, affection towards Anarkali. That's what these guys have shown out here. So out here, Nasiruddin Shah, who's playing the Emperor Akbar,
Mm-hmm.
and Aditya Rao Hayadri is playing
Anarkali.
Anarkali.
Hmm.
So this guy, has kept her into like prison, and she's there. He's in love with her, and then his son, the Salim, he also falls in love. So interesting take. Also, it has some different layers are there. The Jodha is not only the wife of Akbar, which again we saw in Jodha Akbar. Ke nahi, Akbar only had one wife. No, he had multiple wives, multiple kids. So it's a very unique and different show. But nicely made, good performances by Nasir Saab. Then the Ashim Gulati is very good. Zarina Wab's out there. So actors have done their part in this show.
So, what do you think now? If I want to really talk about the trend that we are seeing on theatre as well as on OTT, what is actually looking more promising? Not specifically this particular lineup for the weekend, but in general, because you track this sector, this industry, what do you have to say? What's heavy, the theatre side or the OTT side, in terms of content, in terms of crowd, in terms of time spent?
I feel that the Indian content still needs to, up their game. Uh, it's not matching up to the international standards, but even internationally, if you look around in the American shows or European shows or even the Korean shows, you just get one in few months. That's it. After there's a big gap. That's what is happening out in cinema halls also. The big movie just comes, or maybe a one film from South. There are a couple of hits, and then there's full silence. So yes, that consistency is not there at both the places. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe the people who are sitting out there in the OTT, the lords out there sitting, the stories what they are trying to finalize, they're all looking similar. The template of Mirzapur or template of Sacred Games, which was set, they're just trying to follow that. We see on couple of OTT platforms all those gangster drama or all those. Now it was recently Rana versus Naidu on Netflix. It had so many bad words, sexual scenes, everything was. It seemed forced out there. So this again was because of the template which was set earlier. We are just trying to watch it, but nothing new is coming up. So that's a bit worrying.
How much do you think it will impact Disney Hotstar, the HBO deal falling out? So, where do we watch the HBO content? What kind of content would we be seeing then on the OTT?
See, Disney Hotstar, I think poor guys, they are just going through tough times because IPL has been taken away. Now this one is also going up. But now, what has happened is Disney Hotstar has also formed their own Indian niche. With the Disney stuff also, there are Disney stuff which are keep coming. I think Loki is coming. Marvel is also there with them. So they have decent stuff coming over there. Indian products are there. I think um, there's one show coming on in a couple of weeks, which is also seems to be a good show. Film or show. It's got Sara Ali Khan, Chitrangna. I think it's a film, yeah, on Disney Hotstar. So that's coming. Gaslight. That's going to be there. Plus, Loki season 2 is going to come. Then there's more stuff with Star Wars and everything. So they have their fan. The fans will be happy out there. But I think the mass level what they had earlier, thanks to IPL, that might be in danger.
About the content from the south side, the South Indian films, do you think the fatigue is there now in the viewers also, in the audience for this?
100%. You know
Yeah.
what happened last year? I would like to say, Kavita, people out here were saying, okay, Bollywood is finished, South is like ruling out there. But they did not know that out there also, out of 20 films, there was only one film which made, which was a hit. They were also suffering. But luckily, they got, Bollywood, they got this North India market. So they started releasing their films, which was catering to the masses who were looking out for just pure entertainment. So luckily they got numbers from the entire North India, the Maharashtra, the Gujarat belt, and everywhere. So their movies, the Masi movies, got some big numbers, but rest of their films were also struggling. All the three industry. I think Malayalam was never into the box office game, but Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, all three were struggling.
All right, so this is the plan for our viewers, but then what is your plan for the weekend? Are you going to watch some more cinema?
Well, see, there's Vati, which is again, as you mentioned, it's a Dhanush star of film, which is there on Netflix. Not a great film, but when you have Dhanush, you have to just watch it for him. People who have not watched Kutte, that's also been released on Netflix. So Tabu fans, Vishal Bharadwaj fans, Kokna Sharma fans might like it. And there's a good news for Oscar lovers. The Whale is out there on Sony LIV. Best Actor award. Brandon Fraser, he's terrific in this movie. If you have not watched it, please sit weekend पे आराम से watch that film.
I think that's going to be fantastic, having a Oscar winner this weekend. Thank you so much, Divya, for being on the show and helping our viewers plan their weekend. Thank God it's Friday, which is why we started our show with your weekend plan. But then let's slip into a quick break, and post that, let's talk about repaying your home loan.